This building on my family's farm is nearly 40 years old. And as you might be able to tell, some of the paint on here is starting to become faded off, and we're just starting to see some galvanized steel. Up close here, you can see it actually looks worse than what it does from farther away. Also, the trim piece up there on the roof, that has a lot of paint that's wore off of it as well. In addition to the trim piece here at the bottom, all the way around this 60 by 60 building that we have. So rather than spending a bunch of money on some new tin and putting in a bunch of effort to put basically brand new tin on this building to make it look more aesthetically pleasing, let me show you what my plan is to fix this. So inside our little dryer shed here, first off, you can see we are not ready for harvest in here. Still have a fair amount of things that need to get ready, but what I want to show you, you can see this 5-gallon pail that is full of some white paint that is supposed to be good for metal. I bought that this morning, and I also bought this airless paint sprayer. Never actually tried one. Read the operator's manual a couple times on it now, but we're gonna get this stuff hooked up, and I'm gonna try painting our building out there to make it look better. Also, because this is gonna be my first time ever using that paint sprayer, I power washed off our LP tanks down here by the bin site. These are what feed LP or gas to the grain dryer. So I got these all washed off, and I'm gonna start by painting these. That way, if I do screw anything up, these are kind of on the side of the yard that people aren't gonna see when they first pull in. So I got a bunch of spots like this where there was a bunch of sun scalding on it that I got power washed off. So we're gonna start by painting these barrels. The pump prime now. You can tell I had to run a little bit out in my drain pail here, but now I switched over where it's gonna go. So rather than coming out of the drain tube, now it's sending all the paint to the gun. So we should be good to get started on painting. Before I start painting, please make sure you have your safety glasses on, because I would hate to get paint in your guys' eyes. Here we go, first try. I have the first barrel painted here. I can't honestly tell you how much easier that is than using a brush. It's a lot more fun to run too, because running a brush, it's just boring. Holding that gun in your hand, a lot more fun. Now I'll move on to the second barrel. I'll show you guys. This one's all beat up. I think this is like one of the OGs that Grandpa had out here. So we're gonna start painting on this thing. Show you guys the results once I finish this one. Finished with the second barrel, and I am pleased with how it's looking so far. But I did notice one thing, and I am kind of a nitpicky person, is that there are some lines here that you can see from the edge of where the wand shoots the paint. And I'm not sure if that's because I'm holding the gun too close to the barrel, if I'm too actually far away from what I'm trying to paint. But I'm gonna read up in the manual quick, and then we'll get started on barrel number 3. It's saying I need to be about 12 inches from the object I'm trying to paint and overlap by about 50%. Now, I definitely wasn't doing that on these first 2 barrels. I was just kind of willy-nilly going wherever I felt. But on these next 2, we're gonna try to stay that 12 inches away and see if we can get away from having those lines being created. I have the last 2 barrels painted now, and I have to say, holding the gun back a little bit solved the problem. The first 2 aren't bad. They still look good from this far away, but here's the picture before I started power washing. Here's a picture of the barrels after I power washed, and here's what they look like now. I mean, they basically look brand new. I'm thrilled with the results, but this wasn't the project of the day. The project of the day was to get this shed painted. So I'm gonna move all of our stuff up there. We'll get started painting on the shed. I have everything set up now in station over here at the shed. We're hopefully gonna get painted today. And I should mention, I did power wash off the outside of this building a couple days ago. That way, if there was any residue or like flies that were on the outside of this building, they're not now gonna get plastered on with the paint. But Mom's waiting here with the forklift. She's gonna raise me up. We're gonna get started right up there at the peak. You like doing this sort of stuff?
It's okay. I always worry you're gonna fall.
Ah, we'll be fine. Raise me up. At the peak of the building here. This is that trim piece I was talking about that's really, really bad. A lot of the paint's wore off. This is where we're gonna get started, and then start working our way down to the edge of the building. I made the second pass with the spray paint gun here, and it was making some little blotches every time I'd pull the trigger to start. So I ramped all the pressure up over there on our painter, which should hopefully give us more finer particles when we start. So now we're gonna give that a shot. Hopefully that solves the problem.
Feeling like life is good, life is good, yeah. Life is good, life is good, yeah.
Now, before I finish painting on this side this year, is an old alarm bell that was on the side of the shed. And the purpose it served was it had a phone cord hooked up to it. That way, anytime someone called the original farmstead house and a wasp just flew out of there, was that way everyone on the farm would know that the house phone was ringing. But obviously, we don't need that no more. And the wasps are getting me up here. So we're gonna start painting. I have this side completely done now. The wasp is still up there looking for some prey to eat on. He can stay up there because I'm gonna start working on this side, which is a little bit trickier since I covered up the two windows, and the window and the door we're gonna be painting over. And then gotta paint our big overhead doors here. Mom went to town to get another 5-10 gallons of paint that we're gonna need since there's not much left in there. We're gonna get started, get the ladder out, start working on this side. I'm out of paint, waiting for Mom, but I would say here while I'm waiting, I do like the finish that this paint has on the tin. It leaves a little bit of grittiness on the steel, which I like, and it seems like it's adhering really well. So we're just gonna wait for Mom to bring that other can of paint back, and then we'll keep painting. Dad is back now with the semi. We're backing this into the shed here. Also, haven't told you guys yet, but look at this. We bought a canoe. Why? You might be wondering. Because remember how much rain we had this spring? We weren't able to get some of our fields. Now if that ever happens again, we got a canoe. So I guess Diamond Bogo ran out of the 5-gallon jugs. So Mom just picked up 9 of these 1-gallon containers. So I'll dump these into that 5-gallon jug we have. And we'll get back at it. As you can tell, there's a little bit of a build up here for when they built the shed. So Dad's gonna raise me up with the Super M, and that's gonna get me high enough up to start painting this side. So here's the before. Day 1 of painting is now complete. Unfortunately, we didn't get done. I did think I'd get this all done in one day, but I only had 5 gallons of paint. Mom picked up another 9, so we're at 14 gallons. I got about a gallon all over myself, so only about 13 gallons on the shed here. So I'm gonna pick up some more paint in the morning. You guys are not gonna wanna see some before and after shots of what the shed's gonna look like. So see you in the morning. Welcome to day 2 now of painting my nearly 40-year-old shed. Here I am on the north side, which I've still yet to paint. You can see there's paint starting to get wore off a little bit on here. But because this is the north side, this isn't the side always getting the sun like the south side does as bad. But because I already have all the paint stuff here, got some more paint overnight, we're gonna start painting on this side. Now that I have the north side completely painted up, at least with the first coat, so I should have the whole building now painted with at least 1 coat, I'm starting to walk around and notice there's spots like this where I've already painted. You can see here the paint's just a little bit sparse and I didn't get enough coverage on there. So now I'm gonna go all the way back around the building, not really spray a second coat on everything. Just try to look here, like there's another spot where it looks like it could use some more. There's some up there. Just look for all the spots where I can see there's just not a heavy enough coat. Start to fill those in, and then I'll give you the results. I am officially done painting our nearly 40-year-old building. I have all 4 outside walls painted, put 2 coats on. Looks really good, but let me take you guys up close now to show you exactly what it looks like. If you remember back to the beginning of today's video, I showed you this sheet of tin right here where there was some white coloring that was completely out of the tin and it was just galvanized steel. Well, now if you look at it, we don't have that no more. We don't have the fading on that sheet of tin or any other pieces of tin on this building because we're done painting. And I'm pleased with the results. I think everything looks great. The only critique I have of myself, well, only 2 I should say, is right here. I got a little overly aggressive. Had cardboard on the windows, but obviously the cardboard with a little bit of wind blew off. So I got some paint on the windows there. I need to get cleaned up and do a little bit of touch-up work with an actual brush. And then this bottom trim piece that I painted all the way around the building. I tried using cardboard as much as I could so I wouldn't get paint on the cement, but as you can tell, I did get a little bit of paint on the concrete. I'm not a professional painter. Obviously, this is the first building I've ever painted. I'm happy with the results. The only thing I can really tell is from this building to now our other white buildings, this freshly painted one is a lot brighter. And that was the goal I set out with, to improve the look of this building. And it took 19 gallons of paint, cost about $63 a gallon. So it cost me $1,197 alone just in paint. And like I mentioned, it also cost me another $400 for this airless paint gun, bringing up the total project cost to paint this building to $600. Now I'm pleased with the results. I'm curious what your guys' thoughts are, so let me know those down below in the comments. And that's gonna be it for today's video of High Tech Farmer. Thanks so much everybody for watching. See ya in the next one.